Hey, what's up, YouTube? Man, what a long day it was for me today, right? Woke up about like 7 a.m., taught a class, right? So the class I'm teaching is weight training. It's a one credit course. Not too hard, right? I let them out early all the time. It's a one credit course. Um, all I really want them is to do is show up, right? But today, what I taught them was something that I found that I found out, right, and throughout my college career, and that was meditation and breathing exercises, right? So it doesn't really correlate with weight training, but I wanted to teach them, right, to be open to it, right? Because the whole class is all athletes, and to be a better athlete, you have to be in the present moment. To be in the present moment, you have to practice meditation and breathing exercises, right? So that was the first thing that I did this morning. Taught them how to do that. I went through 3 breathing exercises. One was Anulom Vilom, which is alternate nostril breathing, right? Just alternate nostril breathing, like it says. One was box breathing, 4 seconds inhale, 4 seconds hold, 4 second exhale, 4 second hold, stuff like that. And then the last one was like 4 second inhale, 7 second hold, and then 8 second exhale, which is really good if you do that one before bed, right? And then, like I was telling them, the best recovery as an athlete should be sleep, right? As well as there's a bunch, but the top priority is sleeping, right? Trying to get your sleep. And to do that, to get your best sleep, you can do breathing exercises, which is the one I just explained, the 4-7-8 breathing technique, right? But the whole reason I wanted to do this video, and let me see what my journal says, was that we have to be accustomed to criticism, which I'll get into later, right? So first I wanted to talk about my workout, right? After my class, took a nap, went back home, came back, and got a lift in. So my lift consisted of dumbbell lateral raises with dumbbell tricep pushdowns, 3 sets of 12, getting not a pump, but some blood to the area that I'm going to be working out that day. Then I went into seated military press. I did 5 sets of 2, all at, I think, 115 pounds, right? 5 sets of 2 reps. Then I had 2 sets last as a single set, right? So the first set, I got 135, right? And I'll show it. And then the second single, I got 140. I probably could have done more, but I don't have a spotter, and it gets kind of scary with the shoulders. Not that it's scary, but I don't want it to be right here, and then I have to drop it to my hips, and it's going to hurt. Then after, what do we do? Whatever we do after our main lift, we're going to go into unilaterally. So we're going to go single arm shoulder press. I was supposed to be standing up, and I didn't read the paper right, so I did it seated, right? I did pretty good on that. 4 sets of 4 each arm, right? And then their last 2 sets, I did a single, right? Trying to get as heavy as I can. 10 RPE, rate per served exertion. Then after that, I don't know why my chair keeps doing that, like that. Next was standing dumbbell shoulder press, 5 sets of 6. That was pretty tough, right? Because we were seated the whole time. And then once you stand up, do a shoulder press, all you want to do is on your way up to get your head through. It brings better mobility through your shoulders, right? And then after, whatever you do in the beginning, you do in the end. So I did dumbbell lateral raise, superset it with dumbbell reverse flies, right? Then after we did, we had football come in. Football was great today. They got after it. It's a Friday, as they should. And then, right, so after my workout, before football, I went to Chipotle, right? Got double scoop chicken, right? It was perfect. But then I took my book in there, and I wanted to read, right? So I ate real fast. I was hungry. After my lift, I'm usually always hungry. And then I started reading my book, right? And it's crazy because that morning I talked about meditation and breathing exercises, and the part of my book that I got to read before I had to go back to school was about Zen and Buddhism, right? And I don't follow Buddhism, but there are some things in there that are key aspects that someone can take and be a part of their lives, right? So this chapter was about being accustomed to criticism, that we should all embrace criticism. Whenever you get criticism, you should take it and nourish it, right? Just take it in and be like, yeah, that person is right. I can learn from that, right? And that's anything, right? Someone telling you you suck or do this better, take it. Don't take it for granted. It's a teaching standpoint, right? Someone who cares about you wouldn't give you criticism if they didn't care about you, right? So this chapter was about Hakuin Zenji, right? Probably got that name wrong, right? And he was a kid, and he was trying to become a priest. And the only reason he was trying to become a priest was because as a kid he was into martial arts. And one day he went to his church, and a priest was giving a sermon on hell. This created almost like, when you hear as a kid the stories of hell, torments of hell, you kind of get scared and you're like, oh, let me follow God, let me follow Jesus Christ, stuff like that. So not that they're trying to scare you, but that stuff is real and that stuff is out there, right? So he kind of, after heard this sermon, changed his path from martial arts to wanting becoming a priest, right? So for him, he thought he was smart enough. He thought he was, the best priest. So he was going from temple to temple trying to find enlightenment, and he couldn't, until one day he found this one mentor. And this mentor was called, Shoju Rojin, right? Probably said that wrong too. My mistake, if you guys know those names. And when he saw this person, you know how you see someone, it's almost like if you see a role model or someone that you just know has been through everything, right? The only reason they got to their spot or place in life is because they suffered and they lived through all of it, right? You can just tell who's someone who worked hard and they just didn't go through the motions. They went life head first and succeeded, right? And that was who he saw, right? But as soon as he took him under his wing, days later, the mentor was just bullying him, right? He was just bullying him. He was abusing him. He was hitting him, beating him up, right? Because this kid was a smart, smart A word, right? And just bullying him because, right, the whole reason was because he was trying to find Zen, and that's not how Zen works. Zen usually finds you, and once you find it, you don't hold on to it, right? Like if I go into a meditation right now, come to the present moment, in a blink of an eye, it can go away, right? That doesn't mean I found enlightenment. It's just in that very rare moment, I found peace within myself, right? So he thought it was you find it and you have it forever, when it's actually working through challenges, working through it day after day, day after day, right? Because that was the one reason why I loved meditation, was because you can never get good at it, right? Every time you sit on the floor or a standing meditation, as you will, it's always different, right? Just like sports, I took it as, right? You're never going to have the same game. I'm never going to shoot 5 for 5 from the 3 line and I shot it the same way, shot it in the same spot. That's never going to happen. It always fluctuates. So that's how I took it out on the mat, right? When I was laying on the floor, when I was sitting down with myself in the dark room, every meditation was different. The thoughts that I thought, how fast I can get into the present moment, how slow I can get into the present moment, all these distractions were different, right? Each time you're doing it, it was different. You can never get good at it. So that's what humbled me, right? It was like an ego shot, right? I can never get good at it, but I'm going to keep going after it. So then one day, right, the apprentice, right, Hakuin, the kid who was a smart, he went wandering around the woods like, he was fighting through perseverance, like, man, this isn't for me. My teacher is basically beating me up every day. I can't find enlightenment, right? So he's wandering around, and finally he gets to a private home where he's like looking around, and this old lady is basically telling him to get off get off the property, almost like a monster house, to get off my lawn, that kind of thing. And so she starts beating him with a stick. And while she's beating with the stick, basically knocks him out. He wakes up and he starts getting happy because he found enlightenment in that moment. And I couldn't really understand why, right? And I think because he was getting beat up by his master, that's what his master had gone through, right? His mentor. And like I said, I can't really understand it, but I do understand it, right? And it's accustomed to criticism, right? So as soon as he got after beat and the woman and he felt enlightened, right? Like I said, he ran back to his mentor and told him that, right? The mentor told him, Zen never stops. You finally found it. Because in that moment, I think it replayed all the times he's been beaten. He's been, I can't really find, it was just a great story. So the whole reason I'm saying this, right, was that you have to be accustomed to criticism. And basically to reach mastery, just like the book title that I'm reading, to reach mastery in whatever you're doing, you have to have toughness and you have to have a connection to reality, right? I can't be like, I want to be an NBA star, right? I have to have a connection to reality. I'm this tall. I'm not that gifted, right? I was gifted, but I'm not that gifted, right? And you have to just have a connection to reality, but you also have to have toughness, right? Toughness to get through those persevering moments to get to where you want in life, right? Because anyone could do anything. Everyone says that, but not everyone has the toughness to get through the hardships, the perseverance part, right? And then you have to also develop discipline through these challenging situations. Sometimes you're going to get fired, right? Sometimes, like myself, I'm finding myself, right? You're doing all this work, and maybe the doesn't come along, or maybe you start to be like, man, I feel like my worthiness isn't getting set up to how I wanted it to be. This is not how I wanted it. This is not how I pictured it. Stuff like that, right? And you have to take a step back and think why you're doing this, your why. So you have to develop a discipline through those challenging situations. And when you have a mentor, right, it's very rare and very, how do I say it? You have to find a mentor that's going to criticize you. If your mentor isn't criticizing you, telling you, you suck at this or do this better, right? Like if I'm on the floor, and when I say on the floor, that means like coaching in the weight room. If I'm on the floor, my coach doesn't tell me like, hey, use your whistle. Hey, if the people aren't listening to you, not yell at them, but, wait a couple seconds. Know that you see them not listening to you. Hey, I don't think your rep scheme was good today. I think we should try this, right? This is better scientifically as well as it's better for their sport. Stuff like that, right? If my mentor isn't telling me any of that, then who does that make him, and how am I going to get better, right? And some people might take criticism as abusive or threatening to whoever you're doing it to, right? Like, hey, you're not doing that right, or you suck at that, get better at that, right? If your mentor isn't doing that, then what's actually being abusive and threatening is that person developing a non-confidence to whatever he's doing, and later in life keeping at those whatever he's doing, right? Like if I was never told I sucked at something, and at the end no one ever told me, right? I'm gonna keep doing it, and just everyone around me is gonna be like, did he not get the memo? Or it's gonna hurt me in the long run if I don't get criticized now. And that's why I say, right, whenever someone tells you something, whether you're on a team, whether you're like me as a coach, right, there's things that you can work on all the time. And if you're not getting criticized, then you don't have the right mentor, right? And there's many things for me as a coach that I can get better at. There's like one that was really bad was talking in front of groups, right? And I got better at it, and I think I got better at it by just being me. I had to just be myself, right? If I'm giving out instructions how to do an exercise, I try to dumb it down as much as possible so that even a third grader in the room could complete that movement or squat pattern or something, right? Like I try to make it fun and enjoyable, because that's what it should be, right? I shouldn't be like, move your pelvis back, then this and this and this, right? No, they're all going to look at me like, huh? Hey, put your butt back, find a good back angle, and squat down, right? Push your knees out, not out, but you get the picture, right? So when you have a mentor, you have to let them give you all the criticism in the world, and you got to welcome it, and you got to nourish it, right? Get them to reveal your strengths and weaknesses, and this is when you will gain as much feedback as possible, right? And no matter how hard it is, right, to receive criticism, because we're all humans, right? If I was told I sucked at coaching, I'd be like, all right, bro, you suck at coaching. Like, it's something that I wouldn't be able to swallow, right? So through this realistic feedback, you will gain a confidence like no other, as well as using it that's worth possessing, right? If I receive the criticism and I get better at it, right, the next week I get better at it, then eventually I will become a master, right? And then leave my mentor and then go be a master for someone else, right? And a couple of those things that I remember getting good at was finding my own voice, right? Every coach has their own voice. There's coaches that, man, I'm burping. There's coaches that love to yell, they love to scream, right? That's how they get their message through. For me, I'm very a laid back coach that not that I deserve respect, but that I'm giving you all the respect in the world. I'm letting you free roam, and that you should let me do that too, right? Like it should be vice versa. But if you step on the line, I'm going to step on your line, and then now we're not cool, right? So stuff like that, right? You find your own coaching philosophy. Because I remember when I was first interning, I would like stand in the corner of the weight room and be like, okay, is this weight room done yet? Right now, I'm going through each rack. I'm asking people, how you doing? How you feeling? How's your family? How's your brother? How's your sister? Right? Stuff like that to make them know, like, I care about you, not whatever weight is on the bar. Hey, get your weight on the bar, but as you as a person, right? Because at the end of the day, they're an athlete, but not only an athlete. Like I say, never feel like what you're doing is who you are, right? If you're a football player, you're not just throwing a football. You're bringing a sense of community. You're playing for whatever city you came from, right? All this pressure, but that's not you. You're a brother. You're a uncle. You're a son to someone, right? That's who you are, right? That's your identity, right? And that comes from an old coach that I had, Coach Brett, right? Shout out Coach Brett, right? But that's like a confidence. That's, like I said, if you can accept that criticism, you can gain all the confidence in the world. So basically, this video was be accustomed to criticism. Take it in and hold it for dear life and get better, right? And that's all you can do. And then basically to finish this video, play some pickleball tonight. That was fun. But since basketball, I have not moved like that since, like laterally and then kind of lunging forward to go hit the ball off the ground. Stuff like that, I was not ready for. So my knees are cooked, right? So we'll see how that feels tomorrow. It was a good day today from like 8 to 6 at the school. It was fun. It was engaging. And just days like that makes you be like, man, this is great for coaching. So hope you guys have a blessed day. Good night. And I'll see you guys. Let's go.